Hey everyone. In this Service Insights video, we're going to be talking about the Snapshot Overview. The Snapshot Overview is the first of the reports that we're going to cover. It's the one we recommend you start off with because it includes a lot of the most essential information you'll need for reporting purposes. In particular, the total individuals and total households served can be found here. You'll notice up at the top that there's this notice in orange that says that all data is adjusted based on selected filters. That's referring to these filters over here on the left that determine what you see over here on the right. I'm not going to talk too much about these filters right now. We covered that in a previous video, so if you'd like a refresher on how the filters work, I encourage you to check that out. Up at the top, we're going to see individuals and households. And for each of these, we see unduplicated, duplicated, or visits, and then new. Unduplicated refers to unique individuals or households, and duplicated refers to the visits made by those individuals or households. So think of it like this. If you have one person who comes to your pantry every week in a month that has 4 weeks, you will see them counted once here in unduplicated, but 4 times in duplicated. For new, that is going to refer to anybody who is new to your pantry during the time period that we're looking at. So if somebody had registered at a neighboring pantry a couple of months ago, but they made their first visit to your pantry in this time period, they'd be counted as new. You also get over here on the right a number of average visits made per household. This is just some simple division here. If you were to take the duplicated number as a numerator and divide that by the unduplicated number as a denominator, you would get the average visits. You also get active program locations further to the right. I'm signed in here as the food bank account, so I'm actually looking at all of the active program locations we have using Service Insights. If you're a traditional brick and mortar pantry, you're probably going to see 1 here. However, if you operate your pantry as well as a satellite distribution or a mobile distribution or a pop-up, you might see 2 or 3 or 4 there. As we move down, we see 4 data visualizations. Up in the top left is going to be an age distribution of all unique individuals. If at any time you want to get an exact count of what you're looking at, you can just move your mouse over to any of those bars to see that. So for instance, from 0 to 5, we have 11% of all individuals are 0 to 5 years old. But if we mouse over, we see that refers to 1,425 individuals. To the right is your service details by zip codes in map form. You'll see that it starts a little zoomed out. In order to make things easier, I recommend you mouse over to this little arrow and then select this 4-way arrow icon that looks sort of like a compass. That'll allow you to pan the map around, so to click and drag it. You can also double click to zoom in to our service area here. You'll see that as you get closer, you see the contours of zip code areas forming a little bit more clearly. And they're all shaded a different shade of orange. That's because what you're looking at is a heat map where the deeper shades of orange represent a larger number of clients coming from that zip code. So you'll see that this area up here in Maryland, sort of in the right where about Prince George's and Montgomery County meet, is deeper orange than the rest of the map. That simply refers to the fact that we have more Service Insights using agencies in there, and so we have a greater density of clients coming from those zip codes. If at any time you want a detailed breakdown of that zip code, you can just move your mouse over and you'll see the total visits, total individuals, and some more information, all unique to that zip code. Down here in the bottom left is a breakdown of children, adults, and seniors in households with or without children. Up at the top is those with children, and at the bottom is without. You might find this information useful if you ever provide things that are only going to children in distributions. For example, if you're providing school supplies for young children or backpacks for a back-to-school program, this might be useful for you. And then last, in the bottom right, is visits by a rolling 12-month period. So this is not simply going to be the calendar year, it's just going to be the last 12 months. I'm looking at this at the end of January, so I am looking at January to last January, but again, this would change based on whatever month you were looking at. You see that there's a gradual trend that kind of gradually increases the individuals and households over time. That mostly reflects the fact that we have been working with more agencies with Service Insights, so there is a gradual upward trend here. Likewise, you might see a similar trend at your organization the first couple of months that you're using Service Insights. As you enroll your regulars, you will probably see that there's an increase in the first couple of months that gradually plateaus over time as most of your regulars have been enrolled. Just like the other graphs too, at any time you can mouse over to one of these to get an exact count. So we see that it just is abbreviated as 4K or 3K for each month, but when we mouse it over, we get an exact count of the households during that month. You can also change this if you like from households to individuals, depending on what's most useful for you. So that's it for the snapshot overview. Again, this is the most basic of the reports that we recommend you begin using since it contains a lot of really useful information front and center, and it's very easy to navigate. We'll be covering the other reports in later videos, and I encourage you to check those out.